Hi, I thought I'd do another update on the Trumpeter Bf109 E3 that I'm building. I have kind of jumped ahead a bit here. We've kind of got the cockpit pretty much all together and painted. So you can see that there. I did go for the decal. It softens in quite nicely into the sort of instrument panel, but and it looks okay, I guess. You know, a photo etch would have been nice, but we didn't have the option. I pretty much wanted to build this out of the box. There is some addition here. I've started to add some Edard colour photo etch seatbelts. There's some more to go in there. Basically, we've gone on here with some Vallejo RML2 for the base coat. That's actually not a bad colour. It's probably a bit dark. Perhaps I should have lightened it a little bit, but I think that'll be okay. We've then done a bit of dry brushing with some Tamiya XF20, and for a little bit of silver, I actually tried a bit of the AK's True Metal as a little bit of dry brushing. I didn't go mad with the silvering because I think you can overdo that. It was given a wash. It's a sort of a dark brown wash. It actually says for green vehicles. It actually came in a set for US World War II cockpits, but I think it works quite well as a sort of dirty wash. It did receive, actually before I did the wash, I gave this all 2 coats of gloss. I have actually subsequently given it a matte coat. Actually that's a better, you can see that now. You know, the kit part's pretty good. We've got obviously we had the metal here for the foot pedals, which is nice. The seat's not bad. I've tried to chip it up a little bit, and obviously the addition of the colour seatbelts makes life a bit easier. The set does, I think I've already mentioned, the set does come with these photo etch, but obviously they've got to be painted. And frankly, I had a set of the Edards from something else, so I think let's use that. So that's that bit. I actually used a bit of European dust as well, and as I say, it's now been matted down. Also the same here with the sides, so we've done a bit of, again, the Vallejo gloss, a bit of clear gloss, and then we've kind of just dry brushed and washed in there, and then tried to mat that down. There's not so much detail on this side, but we've done pretty much the same thing here. So that's basically the basic chassis built there. Now, going through the instructions, I'll just go back to the start here, kind of show you what I'm doing here. So pretty much this part's done. This part's done. The guns actually are, they're all painted in a sort of dark iron. In fact, again, I used this dark iron. This is the buffable paint, so that's quite nice, quite like that. They're ready to go on, as in this section here. Now, there's this part here. You won't see it when the fuselage halves come together. So, if I'm honest, I'm not going to build it. I don't see the point in spending a lot of time building stuff you're never ever going to see. You know, if I was able to see it, I'd do it without a shadow of doubt. Then go into the engine. Now, the engine I've stuck together, you know, it's actually not bad for a kit part, to be fair. There's quite a lot of parts to it, as you can probably see from here. Obviously I haven't put the exhausts on yet, that I'll need to get those painted separately, and these parts here. Now they show them as silver. Not convinced, but I've got I'll show you something else in a second, the book I've got. All I've really done is given it a black coat here of primer, just so you know what I'm using here. This is the Vallejo surface primer. I know some people don't like it, but actually I don't find it too bad really. Certainly the black, it seems to work well, and it's, you know, as you can see, it does the job. It gives it a nice coat there. It's quite tough. So I'm going to do some dry brushing and do a little bit of sort of brush painting just to liven that up a bit. So that's that. So that's going to be ready. So by the time we finish that, obviously we've got these bits in here that need to be painted as well. once that's done, we're pretty much there. The cockpit's done. We've got this flat part here, which is where these sort of, I don't know, bottles, either they're oxygen bottles, what they are, I'm not sure. But again, you won't see it, so I just don't think there's much point in spending a lot of time painting that. Now, then we go on to this part here. Again, these are part of the sort of radio parts, which if you go back further along, actually, through the instructions, they're going to go in here. Now, with these parts here too, these sections. Now, obviously, you can leave this door off and expose it, although I think in reality you're not going to see an awful lot, because it'll be quite dark in there once the fuselage halves are closed up. So again, I don't think I'm going to do these. I don't see any point if I'm not going to show them. I'm going to close this up, so we're not going to do that. So these parts I think we won't bother with. So basically, moving on. Once we've got the cockpit together there, we're kind of ready. Really, you think to close the fuselage halves off together, but then it goes off onto the wing parts. So basically, I've actually started this process here. As you can see, you've got a couple of photo etch parts here. This actually went in better than I expected. I expected it to be a bit more challenging, a bit tougher, but that went in quite well. And you've got these parts here, and you've also got these parts which actually stick onto the plastic parts and then go in. So that's that bit. So we're almost ready potentially to close the cockpit up. Those parts have been cleaned up, ready to go. Now again, you've got the machine gun, the cannon here. Now obviously it's got all the magazines and it's got a reasonable amount of detail, but of course again, once this is close up you won't see any of it. I think again I may have mentioned in a review, or certainly in one or another of my sort of updates, is you've got these sort of covers here. Now these actually, they supply clear parts, so you could look in and see the actual detail. But again, I think it's a bit of a waste of time. I don't really like these sort of clear parts that shouldn't be clear, if you see what I mean. I think this should be painted with the rest, and they get so a little bit close that you won't see it. Apart from the fact I'd rather put the guns in at the end, because I inevitably end up knocking them off in the painting and clean up process. You know, I don't know how much filling we're going to need to do, but there's bound to be a tiny bit of filling here somewhere. And you know, with sanding and cleaning it up and prepping it, these bits tend to get damaged or knocked off. So we will actually be closing this up, and I'll be putting these in afterwards. But again, we won't be putting all this detail in, I don't think, because there seems a little point. So we'll probably be just putting the sort of main barrel part into it, hopefully. Looking at it, I don't think there'll be a problem. Obviously there's a sort of cover to go in, which will help hold everything in place. So that will be putting in afterwards. So that's that part. So really, I'll be cracking on with this next. And then obviously we've got flaps and etc, bits and pieces to go. Just a sort of, a couple of things I was going to mention actually. One, as I say, the photo etch parts weren't as bad as I expected or anticipated. They felt a bit thick. They did need a little bit of work to get into those wing sections, but actually it wasn't too bad, so that's okay. As far as sort of reference material, I thought I'd just show you this. Sorry, to get it the right way up so you can actually see what I'm doing. I'm utilising this book. This is, I think, the Valiant series, Wings Publishing, Valiant Wings Publishing. If you haven't got it and you're into 109s, this is a good book to get. It's got loads of great pictures, details, particularly if you did want to put some scratch built parts to the engine to make it a little more detailed. You've got that option, you've got the details there. Some great pictures of an actual engine there, and it goes through all the different. There's a C and a D version, but it'll go through the. I think the B. There should be E in here. It says somewhere. Yeah. Go through the E, and obviously it's got lots of detailed information on the, there's the machine guns there, and lots and lots of stuff. And there's lots of coloured. There's even builds You know, you've got information on the actual building of various model kits, and it actually lists all the model kits available of the 109E series. It's reasonably up to date as far as I can tell, and as I said, there's lots of coloured information there as well, so it's a really good reference for the E series 109. So that's good. Okay, so I'm not really going to show you any more build process on this video. I'll try and do a bit more for the next one. Probably what I'll probably do is we'll get to I'll probably kind of get the wing section built up and ready to go, and then we'll get on and get all the sort of flaps and leading edge flaps and bits and bobs sort of all prepped, and potentially the wheels, so we're kind of really ready to close up. And then I'll perhaps take you through the close-up process, and then we can look at if there are any particular bad parts of the kit which is going to need filling, sanding, rescrubbing, maybe go through that sort of area. It's be interesting. Yeah, so I think for the moment that's probably it for this fairly short video. But hopefully you'll join me for part 3. Thanks for watching.